Up next on The Bottom Line, escaping North Korea. We'll hear the amazing story of a defector living in Montgomery County today.
I feel so happy and excited.
Combating human trafficking. The county takes action to work against this heinous crime.
We need to send a really strong and unified signal to traffickers, to crack down on them that it's not welcome here in Montgomery County.
Dozens of bicycles make their way to a new life at a local charity event.
The idea is to educate people about their bikes, make them better consumers, make them more self-sufficient.
And a special graduation for some four-legged friends with a mission to heal.
Today, I hand over the leash to her veteran and his family.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Susan Kennedy. Life in North Korea is hard to imagine. It's one of the most closed-off countries on our planet with little access to the outside world. But there are many North Koreans who have managed to escape the tyranny for a better life. And in this FaceTime interview, we talk with one young defector who has chosen Montgomery County as her new home. Grace Joe is a 26-year-old Montgomery College student who hopes to become a dentist one day. But not long ago, life was much different for this Germantown resident. Grace grew up in North Korea, where she endured severe consequences living under the Kim regime.
Well, as a child growing up in North Korea, it was constantly hungry and cold and scary because almost 10 days we were starved to only drinking cold water and without any food, constantly hungry all the time. So it was cold during the winter, and because we didn't have enough clothes to wear and no shoes to wear, and then no food to eat, so it was cold, hungry, and scary.
In the 1990s, famine hit North Korea and more than 1 million people died from starvation, including her two younger brothers and her grandmother. When Grace was 6, her father was caught leaving the country to look for food for his family. He was tortured and left to die. After his death, it was up to her mother to make the dangerous quest to find food for Grace and her sister.
Sometimes she crossed the Tumor River to China to ask our relatives in China and ask them to give her a bag of rice and some food, and she can carry with her and then come back to North Korea. So it's a long journey, very difficult, and she also has to carry a really heavy thing on her back. With the bare foot, just walking and crossing the river and crossing the mountains. So it was really difficult for her to find the food for us.
Grace and her mother and sister continued to take the risk of escaping from North Korea. They walked for 4 days to reach China, but each time they were caught and sent back or imprisoned. When Grace was 15, she spent 13 months in a prison in China.
Well, that prison only contains North Korean defectors. Each room can contain 50 people, and then really high wall. So we barely see the green trees from really far away, through a really tiny small window on the upper wall. So that was really hard for us because sometimes we see a 2-year-old boy and mother got separated in the prison. They are crying, all those sad moments. And of course, many people tried to suicide because they fear that once they sent back to North Korea, they will die or go to prison, and all those tortures and fears. They don't want to face that, so they want to die in the prison in China.
Were you tortured at all?
Well, yes, a little bit. I was really young, 14 or 15 years old, so I didn't get tortured like my mother and my sister, but yes, just hit by bare hand.
But in 2006, with the help of a Korean-American pastor who raised $10,000 to bribe North Korean officials, Grace and her family escaped. When she finally made it to America in 2008, she learned how to speak English, got a high school degree, and then in 2013, she became a U.S. citizen.
I was so excited because back in 2014, I had a chance to go to South Korea for a business trip. And when I go out to international airline, it was so amazing. I was like, oh my God, I can take a plane and I can go to other country with this passport, and means citizen, and I belong to somewhere. So I feel so happy and excited. And because of that, after I become citizen, I tried to do my best, whatever I can.
When you meet Grace Jo, you would not know the struggles she endured. Despite the devastating loss she and her family suffered, Grace says she is determined to succeed and continue to help North Korean refugees settle in the United States.
Please join me in welcoming Grace Jo.
And for her advocacy and hard work, she was recently awarded the North Korea Freedom Scholarship from the George H.W. Bush Institute.
Working together, Americans have the ability to change the world. Thank you.
She also helped organize a nonprofit, North Korean Refugees in the United States, aimed at helping refugees settle in the United States.
We hope North Korean defectors like us wanted to escape and find freedom. So my sister and I travel to give our testimony and let people know about the situation in North Korea.
And as the world looks on amid rising tensions between the U.S. and North Korea, this young woman who watched family members starve to death is straightforward with her views on how the dictatorship should be handled.
So I think defense with a strong action is a little necessary at this time. But of course, I don't want to see all those military force or dropping bombs in North Korea because of the citizens. But I always think of myself, like, why don't U.S. government send a special force into Pyongyang and get all those special military leaders at one time and then just announce North Korea regime is changed. So if there's no leaders in the military group and in Pyongyang, which is 1% of North Korean population, then North Korea is done.
The memories of what Grace Jo endured are still clear. Though she is grateful for her life today, she is humble about how she prevailed. To me, you seem like a very brave, strong woman.
I think I am strong, like my mom. My mother was stronger than any of us. She was a lady who lost her husband, mother, and children, but she still remained alive because of remaining her two daughters. And then all her journey passed through China and America. It was really challenging for her as a young woman, but she did. So as a daughter of her, I mean, in America we have a way better life and way better choices, and why not we try our best to get through it. As a child, we shouldn't make her disappointed after she took us to America. We will not rest until the suffering and the nightmare of everybody from North Korea is over in North Korea. Thank you very much.
Human trafficking is a problem across our country, and there is a local impact here in Montgomery County. Recently, a new bill that established a permanent human trafficking commission was signed into law. In 2016, Montgomery County Police investigated 29 cases of human trafficking in Montgomery County. 3 of those cases included minors. County Executive Ike Leggett signed a bill introduced and unanimously approved by the County Council that will work to eliminate this heinous crime.
I remain confident that working together, we can become even more protective of our current and potential victims. And at the same time, we can become even a greater community, and we can fight back the threats to human trafficking.
Tom Hooker serves on the council's Public Safety Committee. He says this bill will send a message to traffickers that the county is committed to fighting this enterprise.
You know, I'm really glad I work with a council and a county exec that are so united to fight this. And the reason we need a commission is really because this is a fast-growing, dynamic, changing criminal enterprise. I mean, this, slavery's been around a long time, but unfortunately, this with the growth of the internet and with all the transportation up and down the I-95 corridor where Montgomery County is, that makes us a hub for this enterprise. And we need to send a really strong and unified signal to traffickers that we're using all the tools in our toolbox that, to crack down on them, that it's not welcome here in Montgomery County.
It was a unanimous vote on the county council, and we all immediately knew that we need to do something in addition to what we are doing. And we are doing a lot. Our police department is doing a lot. It's not just in Montgomery County, obviously. It's an international situation, but we will do our best to correct it in Montgomery County.
County police are working at all times to detect traffickers and make arrests. Assistant Chief Laura Lanham says this bill will help them continue to do their job.
The committee started in 2014, and what this does is establishes something that has been working, and it makes it so that we'll have it for the future, in ensuring that we continue to have many voices and opinions and different looks at a problem. You know, it's great and important for us as the law enforcement community, and certainly the expertise to go into the investigation. But there are a whole bunch of other people, stakeholders in the community who can see things different ways and give different opinions and different insight into the issue, so we can combat it and, most importantly, prevent future victimization.
The Montgomery County Department of Transportation recently sponsored a bicycle donation event in Rockville. And as we found out, the charity will provide the gift of mobility to residents of all ages. Dozens of folks rolled into the county council building with their unused, unwanted bicycles, with hopes of getting them back on the road with someone who needs them. The donation event was hosted by the county and the Rockville Bike Hub, a nonprofit community bicycle shop.
So some people brought bikes that are from under their deck, they've been sitting there for years, and other people have brand new bikes, and sometimes they've just never been used, and so maybe they bought them and intended to use them, but they just never did. So then we've gotten brand new bikes, and we've gotten a lot of bikes that need a lot of repair or can only be salvaged for the parts. And that's what part of what Rockville Bike Hub does, is that they'll take apart the bikes and they'll use the parts, or they'll fix the bikes that can be fixed.
What community bike shops do is teach people how to maintain their bikes, how to fix their bikes, provide space and tools and knowledge and advice to help people learn those kinds of things. The idea is to educate people about their bikes, make them better consumers, make them more self-sufficient, and as a byproduct, they save a little money too.
Many of the bikes donated are refurbished by the Bike Hub before they go to low-income residents in the county. There were 120 bicycles collected at the event, including 50 adult bikes and 70 children's bikes.
Well, this is my daughter's bike. This is actually her first bike that we took the training wheels off. And so this guy was just sitting down there. I put it together one Christmas morning. That was a Christmas present, so she had to wait months to even try it out. And so it's nice to know that someone else gets to have a crack at it.
We as a council believe that people should enjoy the great outdoors, and this type of organization, the literally recycling of bicycles, allows each of us to enjoy the great outdoors in maybe a different way than we could not necessarily do.
And not only do these donation events promote a healthy lifestyle, they also improve the environment. Instead of going to the dump, many of these two-wheeled vehicles end up being an important mode of transportation for someone less fortunate. And finally, there's a nonprofit located in Boyd's that's mission is to help wounded warriors reconnect to their lives through service dogs. Recently, the organization held its annual graduation, and 2 Montgomery County residents who served as puppy raisers turned their dogs over to their future warrior. We leave you with their thoughts on their journey to this special day.
It's so exciting. I raised Judy for a year and a half, and I always knew she would go to a veteran. And today I hand over the leash to her veteran and his family. She's going to be a military family support dog. So she goes to her permanent family today.
Bunce has been awesome. I grew up loving dogs. I knew what kind of joy a dog can bring into someone's life, but it wasn't until I took Bunce home, and I've spent the last 6 months of him, that I really understood just how special he is and how incredible it is to have him in my life. He's an absolute blast. He keeps me active. He challenges me because I feel like I need to keep his training up and always teach him something new. He's so smart that he wants to learn something new every day. So he just keeps me going, and he's a constant source of love and loyalty, and it's really amazing.